Imagine you've booked a dazzling vacation home perfect for your honeymoon.
Nice.
The house has it all. A pool, a spectacular view, and also the weird owner who lives behind the locked door in the hallway.
Hello! I can assure you I shan't be watching you during your stay, so why even bring it up?
Nope. We're leaving.
When you'd like a romantic vacation getaway instead of having to get away from your vacation, it matters where you stay. At Hilton, you can expect accommodations that meet your expectations. Hilton for the stay.
One trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the King of the Will.
King of the Will.
That's
King of the Bill.
foreshadowing. A King of the Hill Rewatch podcast. I am Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
And Rusty, we have reached the end of season 1.
Yep, we have finally climbed and crawled our way through the very first season of King of the Hill.
Covered in ants.
Yeah, covered in ants.
We smoked a bit.
Smoked some cigarettes. Yep.
We learned the meaning of Wimatanye.
We lost shins.
Yeah, we did. We lost our
We
shins.
killed 50 men.
50.
50.
That's right, man. All right, so we are at season 1, episode 12, Plastic White Female.
Which I think is a tongue-in-cheek reference to Single White Female,
I
which
believe.
was a
Yep.
#1 hit at the time.
That was a big one. That's, what's her name?
Martina McBride, maybe? I don't know.
Martina
One of those.
McBride.
One of those. Martina McBride, Trisha Yearwood. I mean, one of the female country
Oh,
artists.
no,
of the
wait.
time.
You're thinking about the song.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking about the movie with Bridget Fonda.
Oh, okay.
Single
I was
White
thinking
Female.
about the song "Single White Female."
Is there a song?
I don't know if it's called "Single White Female," but it goes, "Just a single white female," something like that. I don't know. I think that's what it's called. Maybe.
This is my favorite opening ever. All right, so this one starts before the credits. And
Yeah, there was. Sorry. It was Shelley Wright was the name of the woman.
Shelley Wright.
Yeah, "Single White Female" was the name of the
Single
song.
white female.
Yeah.
All right. It starts before the credits. We got Bobby and Joseph up on the overpass, and they're having a conversation like, what? How old would you say they are?
I don't know. I think they're preteens.
Yeah.
Because they reference he's
11?
almost a teenager.
11, 12, something
Probably
like
11.
that. Probably.
I imagine
Yeah.
they're right at 11.
Yeah. So this is a time in a boy's life when he's still a very little boy, but he's also turning into a teenager. And so they're having these conversations on overpasses, and these conversations are fairly serious for their life, but at the same time, they're hawking loogies onto cars below.
Yeah, they're just hawking them up, which is, at least they're not throwing rocks.
That's true. Rocks,
Which when I
batteries.
first turned this episode on, I was like, man, it's about to get iffy.
Yeah, no
it's
kidding.
been a while since I'd watched this, so I didn't remember what they were doing,
Yeah.
and then you see them lean back, go,
Yeah.
hawk it up. So yeah.
Yeah. So Joseph tells Bobby that he's going to have a party.
Yep.
And this party's going to be different because it's going to be a boy-girl party.
Yeah, boy-girl party.
Yeah, it is it's a huge difference for Bobby, and you can see him just gulp, because he is that's not what Bobby's thinking.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Bobby's still thinking, what was it, his friends' action figures and playing
he's still
with
a
the
little bit
Queen
around
Ant
there,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. Yeah, and Celery Head. Bobby's still in that world. He hasn't really graduated to the boy-girl party world. So we get to the credits. No yell, no bell on this one. Just straight up credits. And then we start in Luann's hairdress school. What do you cosmetology school. There we
School.
go.
Miss
Hairdress
Alma
school.
Campbell There was a funny joke. They said in 1983, disaster struck Miss Alma Campbell when she got her hair chemically relaxed at the Casa Linda Salon.
Yeah, in Las Cruces. And she's asking what was the issue, Miss Platter? Miss Platter being Luann. She has no idea what the answer is.
Not at all.
She says, didn't look good. No, Miss Johnson, enlighten us, please. So the class kiss up, I would assume.
Yeah. Or,
Miss Johnson.
well, I don't even know if you have to be a class kiss up to get anything right over Luann.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah. So she just might have studied a little bit harder than Luann.
But I did feel like this girl, Miss Johnson, has a little bit of an attitude.
Oh
about
yeah,
it, you know?
for sure.
Anyway, she talks about
one
how,
of those as if attitudes, like, you really, as if.
Sure.
Yeah.
She talks about how the stylist failed to detect the subject's habitual overuse of henna, which prevents penetration of chemical relaxants like sodium hydroxide and ammonium I don't know.
Thioglycolate.
There we go.
Yeah,
Sure.
God
bless you.
Glycolate.
And so the teacher is very happy about that one. Bravo. Maybe think about some of this stuff when you study for the exam. Miss Platter.
Yeah,
calls her out right there.
Yeah, she did call her out. And it's funny, though, because she says, right before she said that, she said the most difficult cut in beauty school is the cut that separates first-year students from second-year students.
Second year. How many years you got to go?
The cosmetology, I don't know.
School. I'm just saying. All right, and now we're back at the Hill household, and Bobby's trying to help Luann study for her big upcoming test. And he starts, of course, with a math problem because...
No, it's a manicure question.
Well, he does...
It's posited as a math question, but she goes, not another manicure question.
A manicurist with a 7-inch file on a train heading east at 80 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So Luann is confused because she doesn't know why she has to learn all this stuff. Beauty is an art.
Yeah, you can't teach art.
No, it's not something you can study in school like gym or study hall.
Study hall. Yeah.
Here and then we get a joke from Hank here that
it's a pretty good one too, I think.
See, I'm not a big fan of it.
You're not a big fan of it?
I thought it was
funny.
kind of...
Well, when he was saying bills, I was like, oh, damn, well, yeah, everybody gets bills. And then he goes, well, why do I have all the bills mail?
But
it's a cheap joke.
It is a cheap joke, and it just goes by so quickly.
Yeah.
All right, so that just introduces Hank into the room and gives Luann a chance to ask Uncle Hank if he wants to give him a whole new look. He doesn't want to do that.
You don't mess with success.
Don't mess with success.
Yeah.
That's right. But she needs a ton of practice because she has to get to her final, and she kind of begs and pleads with Hank. Hank finally gives in. He says, "Well, it's been almost a week since my last haircut.
Yeah, what the heck? I could use a trim."
That's right. So she says, "I'll be right with you," and then she pulls that weird thing that they put on the ladies' heads whenever they get the highlights, where they pull the strands through and then highlight them.
One of those caps. Yeah, it's like a...
She's got that on Connie.
It's like a highlight cap or whatever. Yeah.
She's got that on Connie, and she pulls it off, and she goes, I can't see any highlights. Yes, you can. You love them.
Yeah.
She's just like trying to get her out of there.
Yeah, you love them.
And then Hank wanders into the kitchen to see what Peggy's doing. Hey, good looking. What's cooking? Oh. And he freaks out a little bit because Peggy turns around and she looks like a troll doll.
Yeah, she looks like a troll doll.
Her hair is sticking straight up.
And then she's like, well, I don't like it either, but I'm trying to be supportive of Luann's education, and
That's
I
right.
expect you to do the same.
That's right. It's time for Hank to go into Luann's chair because she's got one chair, no waiting. And now Hank has changed his mind.
Yeah, no way, Peggy. And it's funny here how he talks about his hair. You wouldn't think Hank would talk about his hair this way, but he's like, my hair is our livelihood. The advantages of propane don't always sell themselves.
All right. And then, so she is ready to go, and he tells her that he's just going to let his hair grow, which I cannot see on Hank having long hair at all.
No, not at all.
And she says, well, how about making it a different color?
No, men don't do that.
Men don't do that. They do.
That's back to that toxic masculinity. No, men don't dye their hair.
Right. But she does bring up the fact that Ronald Reagan did.
Yeah, and then he goes, well, if Ronald Reagan dyed his hair, and I'm not saying he did, it was because he wanted to show his strength to the communists.
That's right.
Which is kind of funny he says that because when Ronald Reagan was an actor in Hollywood, he was in like wasn't it was all the communism around that time in the 50s when he was acting. So he was a part of that Red Scare in Hollywood.
Oh,
and
sure.
He was one of those people that had to that was kind of not vilified, but everybody in Hollywood had to say, "Oh, I'm not a communist." And
he was making movies with monkeys at that time.
So,
Bobby is bringing up the fact that Joseph is having this party. It's a boy-girl party with girls, which...
Yeah, you're going to need some chaperones, especially if my Bobby's there.
That's right.
He's worried about being a slut.
Yeah, because we're back outside now with all the guys. And they're talking about this big upcoming party and how Bobby's going to be a ladies' man. And then... Dale is talking about, well, there's not going to be any hanky-panky at my house.
Oh, and then John Redcorn's pulling up and picking Nancy up right away. Yeah.
John Redcorn and Nancy.
There's a couple of those little scenes,
he says something about Joseph getting ready to be a real lady killer, too. Probably takes after his old man.
And then
that's when Redcorn and...
squeals off, peels out.
That's right. We get Hank coming back inside. Bobby's sitting at the table, and he's like, "Hey, Bobby, they find a cure for those cooties?" I
don't know.
He doesn't know what cooties are.
I like Bobby's deadpan. When Bobby, it's really good when they come in and they ask him a question, and he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then he goes, well, what are cooties? He says, well, when I was a boy, that was what we called the germs you got from girls. And he goes, you mean like chlamydia? And then
chlamydia.
Peggy hears him. She's like, what the hell are y'all in there talking about?
What are you talking about? Yeah. And Peggy obviously doesn't want Bobby to grow up. She's like, boy, I can't believe it's already here.
Yeah, you want a juice box?
Yeah. She's like, hey, you want a juice box? Hank is really trying to get Bobby to kick it into gear here and start noticing girls and stuff. Talks about how why wouldn't you want to go to a party, and then Luann has to put her 2 cents in. She says parties are fun, everybody dresses up, you get to touch dance.
Whatever touch. I mean, there was such an odd description for dancing with somebody. Touch dance, like
touch dance.
It makes it seem more.
It seems creepier,
weird than dancing actually.
Yeah,
is.
A touch dance.
Like you call up your girlfriend, like, hey hon, let's go to the old dance hall and do some touch dancing.
And I mean, I guess the alternative to that is just standing on either side of the room from each other.
What's that? Wall dancing?
Swaying back and forth.
Wall dancing. I don't know about that.
Bobby's a little worried about the touch dancing because he doesn't want to get felt up.
Yeah, what if I get felt up? Luann then says, oh, well, all you need is practice.
You just need some practice. Yeah, and Hank says, you got to practice because do you think Jeff Foxworthy just woke up one day and took some funny pills?
Yeah.
Jeff Foxworthy.
I don't know. I have a hard time finding him funny as an adult. He was a lot funnier when I was like a teenager. Yeah, the blue-collar comedy stuff. It was a lot funnier as a teenager, and it was only funny because it was topical, and I knew people that he was talking about, and that was it. And it was only funny for how many of those jokes can you tell?
I don't know, man, but you got to hand it to those three guys.
Oh, absolutely.
They conquered the world
the
for
funniest
for a
one out of all
years.
of them, though, to me, is Ron White. And he still stands the test of time. I could still watch Ron White.
Was he even really part of the original thing?
Yeah, he was on stage with them. It was
because it was Larry the Cable Guy,
Bill Engvall,
and Jeff Foxworthy. And then every once in a while
he
would be
was there.
him.
On the actual Blue Collar Comedy Tour movie that was released.
He was on there.
They're all four on there.
Okay. So Peggy's wanting to keep him a baby. Luann wants him to go touch some people, and Hank is telling him that you got to practice because look at Jeff Foxworthy. All right, and then we cut back to Luann being at school again, and I love these like these hard cuts where we come into a conversation that's already happening.
Like they're just wrapping up the conversation as we jump in. Yeah.
And so the wrap up to this conversation is the teacher, and she goes, and that's why blondes don't necessarily have more fun.
All right, class. All right, class. Hard cut off.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. And so we're back in school with Luann. And they just want to take a couple of minutes to talk about the upcoming final. She asked Mr. Hernandez to come in and hand out their heads. Everybody is getting a styrofoam head to
plastic
practice
white
on
female.
Here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And she wants them to demonstrate a year's worth of theory on that practice head. A year's worth of theory. Think about that.
That's
all they've been doing is
talking
about heads
for
and
a
hair.
year.
That's right.
That's a lot of theory for. I mean, how much theory is there behind hair cutting?
Yeah.
I wonder where the science was documented for this. Like, who did the experimentations and who wrote down all the data for this?
Yeah. So she tells her that, in beauty school, as in life, you only get one head.
That's it.
And she says she needs to use both of them to pass the exam. She is doing a big deal of making Luann a spectacle in this class.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think it's because Luann is obviously not extremely bright when it comes to memorizing the facts and figures.
Yeah, definitely.
And she can't cut hair either. So, I never understood why they never used Frankie Avalon in any of this beauty school dropout.
Oh, yeah. That's probably cost a fortune.
Probably.
Because after Grease.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now we're back at the school, and Bobby is talking to Min, and they're talking about Joseph's party. He asks her if she's going. She says no. Oh, sorry, Con. Yeah, I'm sorry. I said Min, didn't I? Yeah, her mother.
Yeah, Min.
Talking to Min, that would be weird.
Yeah. Go for it, Bobby.
He's asking about the party, and Con says, no, my dad won't let me be around boys until after I'm married, which is a pretty funny line, honestly. Yeah. And so Bobby makes up something about Joseph having a birthday party in 9 weeks and says, I don't want to party myself out.
Yeah, I don't want to get partied out.
Then we're back in the Hill House, and Hank's really excited for Bobby to go to this Touching Girls tour.
Yeah, he brings out bolo ties for him. Which one do you want to wear, son? The cow skull or the bull's head?
There cannot be a difference. There just can't be a difference.
There's not.
He says, I'm not going. It's just a dumb party with girls. He says, I don't like girls. And then that's kind of the end of the line for Hank there. He says, Peggy, close the screen door. Close the screen door. Yeah. And then Peggy is a little riled up about it because she sees Hank getting, a little
weird about it.
Yeah,
I feel like it's kind of weird. Like, I remember, discovering girls at one point in my life, and I don't remember my dad ever just like, you're gonna go to this party with girls. You got to go to this party with girls. Yeah, that's really odd.
Yeah, he's really worked up about it, and I think it's because Bobby does get babied a lot.
He does. Well, he's a little different for sure, and he does get babied a lot, but...
And so Peggy drags Hank into the kitchen, and he goes, this better be about dinner.
Yeah.
Which, okay, not sure why you'd have to have
a conversation about
two-way
dinner,
conversation about dinner. But she accuses Hank of just wanting to drive him out to Hollywood and put him on the dating game.
The dating game.
He says he's almost a teenager. It's not normal not to be curious. She says perfectly. She calls him a late bloomer.
And then Hank goes, well, how could you say something like that about your own son?
That's right. Yeah. And then Hank finally takes off after telling her the way you baby him, he's never going to be, curious about girls or anything. And she looks immediately at Bob and says, do you know anyone who'd like a hot fudge sundae?
Yeah, and that's funny, though, because this is the time where Luann walks in with this plastic head, and the music kind of goes a little swanky. Like when Bobby sees this plastic head, the little jazz.
My favorite part here, though, before you get to the swanky music on the head, is when Luann walks in and Peggy tries to grab her head and she goes, don't touch it. I mean, she screams
at her. Yeah,
she freaks out.
Don't touch it. Yeah.
I can't let anything happen to it before the final exam. This is my chance to show everyone that it doesn't matter if I was paying attention or not. Yeah, so you get a little bit of that swanky music. Bobby spots the head. And next thing we know, Peggy is going to take Bobby to Sears because they got a sale on some jockey shorts.
Jockey shorts.
Bobby is in the other room playing with his Game Boy, but it says game over the whole time. So he is just trying to pretend like he's keeping busy and not staring at the head. Bobby has fallen in love with the mannequin's head. At this
single
point.
Plastic white female.
Single plastic white female, yeah. And so Bobby devises this very
funny
specific plan to stay home with the head by himself
because there's an after school special on Jesus.
That's right. Well, you can't miss that. You can't miss an after school special on Jesus. That's right. And so Bobby sets the head up on the coffee table, and it's like he's taking it out for a date.
Yeah, he starts chatting.
Well, he has to apologize to it because they don't have Diet Coke.
Yeah, we don't have. We're out of diet.
They're out of diet.
You look really special tonight.
You want to dance? Hello, sweetheart. Yeah. So things are about to get weird with Bobby in the head.
Yeah, and then it cuts now to the alley, and this is a funny alley
guys.
scene. So Hank, hey, Dale, Bill Boomhauer. And then Dale goes, don't you Dale, Bill Boomhauer us. You said noon. It's 12:15. And this is where he starts talking about his hair rustling on his pillow, keeping him up all night. I mean, I have hair. I have middle of my back length hair, and hair keeping you awake from rustling on a pillow is kind of a funny idea to me.
He doesn't even have that much of it. That's the
no,
thing,
it's not. It barely. You see a little like I think the animators put like a little straggles in there that you could kind of see.
It can't be more than like a 1/16 of an inch.
Yeah, and then she comes out and she says, "Come on, let me trim it." Luann does, and he's like, "Well, no, I love my long hair."
Why don't you practice on your practice head? But she says she only gets one chance to cut that hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bill has a great idea. He said they got a whole busload of new recruits coming in on the base, and she could practice on them. And so she gets super excited about that. And Bill is like, yeah, I feel sorry for that kid. I remember when I was starting out as a young barber, I felt so alone.
Nobody cares, Bill. Yeah, Dale. That's one of my favorite lines too from this show.
Nobody cares, Bill.
Particularly this episode. That's one of my favorite lines from this episode.
Yeah. And so we see Luann on the base with Bill, and she is cutting people's hair. And he compliments her and how great a job she did, and then of course goes over with the clippers and just starts shaving the guy's head.
Yeah, which is cool. I thought that was a cool thing from Bill to let her come and shape all these guys' hair.
Bill's ultimately a really good guy.
He is.
He's just confused and stupid. That's all there is to it.
I don't think he's as dumb as he lets on to be either. I think he's ruined by emotional damage. I think that's all it is.
He definitely has some emotional damage. Bill just doesn't want to be alone.
No, that's it.
And so now we're back at the Hill House, and Bobby comes in his little suit.
Yeah, he's dapper as hell.
And Hank says he looks as good as a weatherman.
Yeah, you look like a weatherman.
Bobby says, I'm just going to have some fruit and a glass of skim milk because he's trying to slim down for Joseph's party. So this is how they find out that Bobby is going to go to the party. And then Luann accuses him of having a girlfriend. And so this starts the whole thing, about being embarrassed, not being embarrassed. And then Hank compliments Bobby.
Yeah, my favorite line. He said, there's nothing to be embarrassed about, son. Hell, I'm proud of you. Well, hell, I'm proud of you too, Dad. It was the funny part about that is the timing. It was literally the second Hank said you, the second he got that last syllable out for you, it was like, boom, hell, I'm proud of you too, Dad.
It's funny because this episode has two what you would call curse words, I guess, especially for Hank.
Oh yeah.
There's letting Bobby say, "Hell, I'm proud of you too, Dad," and then there's one coming up, and so they talk about how that Bobby is just perfectly normal at this point, and I think Hank is kind of placated now, and he feels like Bobby's kind of coming into his own.
Imagine you've booked a dazzling vacation home perfect for your honeymoon.
Nice.
The house has it all. A pool, a spectacular view, and also the weird owner who lives behind a locked door in the hallway.
Hello! I can assure you I shan't be watching you during your stay, so why even bring it up?
Nope. We're leaving.
When you'd like a romantic vacation getaway instead of having to get away from your vacation, it matters where you stay. At Hilton, you can expect accommodations that meet your expectations. Hilton for the stay.
Watch us fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas.
Then we get back to the school with Bobby and Joseph, and Bobby all of a sudden has taken on this attitude of like the lady killer.
Oh yeah, he's slick. Yeah, he's hey Courtney, how you doing, Ashley? Looking good, Maria. Catch you later, Bonnie.
That's right.
Yeah, yo, Sharice, you stone cold fox. What up? And it's the funny thing about that line is the Deedle D production stinger.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah.
this is the first episode where they
Where it
have
does
a
Stone Cold.
line at the end, and that's the line is that
He's Stone Cold
you
Fox.
Stone Cold Fox. That's the line they use for the Stinger quote.
Yeah, and so Joseph tells him how he's going to be the most popular guy at his party, and he hopes his lips don't fall off.
From what? From kissing.
Yeah, he says they're going to play Spin the Bottle, you know, and then Bobby starts tensing up just a little bit. He doesn't, he's starting to get a little worried. And like, you know, all kids at that age, they're looking forward to growing up, but they don't want to grow up at the same time. You know, it's scary as hell.
Yeah, it is.
So
I never wanted to grow up. I understood the myth of aging.
Yeah.
There was no fun in it.
And then comes the reveal. Bobby is inside, and he's kissing on the head. That's right. Now he's practicing kissing on the head. And in comes Peggy looking for Bobby. She's been at the grocery store. She's got her arms full of groceries, and she's, hey, Bobby, honey, I could use some help with the groceries. She opens Bobby's door, and there he is.
Well, that's the thing is, I don't understand why everybody's so outraged about him kissing this plastic head when they just push the importance of practice.
Sure.
And Bobby's thinking in his head, what I assume that they were thinking when they wrote this part is, Bobby has been told he needs to practice. Well, what better to practice on a plastic, you know, before you go practice with the real thing, you practice with a plastic head kind of thing. So
absolutely.
I don't think that his thinking is wrong here. I feel like they're wrong for how they act towards him about it. It's kind of weird, but like
it is weird.
You've pushed in this 11-year-old's head that he needs to practice before he goes and actually kisses a real girl. So,
but it is a styrofoam head.
It is a styrofoam
And so you
head.
do, yeah, his mom's going to freak out a little bit. So we go back to Hank and Peggy kind of having an argument about this thing. Hank says, she says, Hank, he was kissing it. And he said, no, maybe he just fell on it.
Well, I think that's what I'm going to ask for all the people who listen to us. I want everybody to go ask their mother how they would have reacted if they would have been caught kissing a
no
plastic
kidding.
head.
Or tell me if you got kids, how you would react.
Yeah, tell me how you would react to that.
Yeah.
I'd be interested.
So, Peggy is really worried about just seeing that in her head the rest of her life. And I can understand that, I guess. I mean, there's some stuff that walked in on my kids doing that I was like, I don't want to think about that anymore.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, they go back and forth. Peggy accuses Hank of sending Bobby to that summer camp with no
toilet
doors on the toilets. Yep.
Yeah.
And Hank accuses Peggy of parking in front of the TV and letting him watch those frogs kissing the pigs.
They got the Muppets.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they got frogs kissing pigs. What did they think was going to happen?
So Peggy's bright idea is they're going to move to Berlin.
Yeah, they'll move to Berlin. What? Bobby will be accepted there. I read somewhere that they have a very tolerant people. Their culture admires all kinds of freaks.
That's right. Yeah.
Which it is known for being a pretty liberal town.
Well, sure. I'm assuming
Red light district and all that still.
Well, yeah, but that's your first reaction is you're going to move to
Berlin.
Berlin.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
So Hank has decided, no, I'm going to cut those apron strings. I'm going to set him down and set him straight. And so he starts heading down towards Bobby's room. He and Peggy are both at the door, and he's like, son, it's me and your mother, and we're knocking on your door.
Yeah, that's us knocking, your mother and me.
There's this huge pause before they even open the door.
We're coming on in. Yeah, we're coming on in.
Yeah, ask him if he wants to go on a car ride. The funniest thing about them opening the door, though, is that Hank opens the door and Peggy is facing the other way when he opens the door. She's not even looking. She doesn't want to get caught seeing
absolutely.
something else again.
And I think the explanation or Bobby gives whenever they're, go for a car ride or whatever, and his dad's telling him he's open-minded as the next guy. Most states want you to let you marry a plastic head. And it goes back to what I was saying just a second ago about practice. They put it in his head so much that he needs to practice this, whatever it is. So that's what he's like, I don't want to marry it. Like, he was like looking at his dad like, what the hell, I don't want to marry the damn thing. I just try to practice my first kiss so I don't look like an idiot.
I love that line, though. Most states won't let you marry a plastic head.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just tells him how he's trying to practice, figure out how to do this kissing stuff. He goes,
maybe in the 90s they wouldn't let you, but we're in 2022. I bet you if he wanted to marry a plastic head,
you could marry a
probably
plastic head at this point. Yeah. He accuses Bobby of using this head as a crutch. He said, it's not a crutch. It's just something I've come to rely on that helps me through life.
Yeah.
So he says, I'll make you a deal. You go to your party, and then you can have the head afterwards if you want it. He puts it way up in the top cabinet and locks it up.
the cabinet.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
I
again,
want to know what else is in that cabinet.
Yeah, I want to know too. I want to know how big of a cabinet is that it can hold a human head.
Well, that's true too. Yeah,
That's pretty big.
It's a big cabinet
space.
Yeah, that's
like,
where
not necessarily. I mean, of course, a whole cabinet could, but not a shelved cabinet.
it's where you put your soup pots,
Yeah.
things like that. I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
So the next thing we see is Bobby sneaking around at night. He is climbing up on that cabinet because he's trying to get to that head.
And you could see Hank just standing in his bedroom.
Well, he knocks all the silverware on the ground.
Yeah.
Wakes up Hank. Hank gets really pissed off. I mean, by the looks of his face, that's the most pissed off I've seen Hank.
Yeah.
Especially up until now.
Up until right now, yeah, he's pretty pissed.
So he breaks in on Bobby. Bobby's got the head. Hank just grabs the head, takes it out, and says he's going to end all this and puts it on his table saw. Now we've got Peggy coming in. We got Luann coming in. Everybody's screaming and moaning. Luann especially, because Hank ends up cutting the damn head in half.
Cuts it in half. I actually made, you go to the Instagram, I made a little... a post for that. I did a DeWalt commercial where he has the table saw and he's cutting the head in half.
That's really great. But he cuts the thing in half. Everybody's screaming and moaning, and it is the weirdest look on Hank's face. He smiles, but it's almost this creepy, weird smile that he has. I just thought
really
that was
weird.
really odd.
Yeah.
I think
super gratified by it.
Well, I think what it was is he was gratified, but then he also realized, oh shit, what have I done?
Yeah, because now in the next scene,
he is at Luann's school.
He's the dummy,
being her head.
Yeah, he's the plastic white female now.
Yeah. And so the teacher is going through, passable. She's grading everybody, and then she's like, first, this is not the head you were issued. Second, just look at the way you shaved against the grain here, here, and here. And she's literally circling Hank's head spots with a permanent marker, which I thought was just fantastic.
Yeah.
And then she says these are the worst sideburns I've seen since Chair 3, which makes me think you cheated.
F.
What does that even mean?
Like, I don't even know.
You cheated by copying sideburns?
You copied some worst sideburns I've seen.
So
that was kind of funny.
So she fails her.
Her.
This is the other part that is very un-Hank. He just goes, what a bitch.
Yeah, what a bitch.
Like, wow. Okay, Hank. That doesn't really come out of him normally.
If you want to hear Hank cuss more, you can check out Hank Trill.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Different thing.
Yeah. Thanks again to Hank Trill for being part of that interview. So Hank knows he's really screwed up here, and so he starts talking out loud about how he loves this haircut. It's the best he's ever had. He's got bumps here and here. He's circling his own head now with the marker.
Yeah, and then he's like picking out the flaws in his own head.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, I noticed that. I layered on the upslopes and tapered on the down.
Which I don't know what the hell that means.
I don't know what that means.
But he says, this is my favorite.
All-time favorite haircut.
Yep. And then the teacher overhears this. She apologizes to Luann and says she's been unfair. She just got so far from the hair and into the whole power trip of running the academy, she forgot how the most important principle of the beautician's art, repeat business and referrals. That's right.
If you please your customer, and then she goes, you pass.
You pass. So, that worked out for Luann. And again, softer side of Hank here.
Mm-hmm.
He finally realized what he did.
Well, we're at the end. We don't come to the end of the episode, so usually that we're wrapping up all the morality tale.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And so the next thing we get is we got Bobby. He's calling Lady Bird and telling her she looks so pretty. And then in comes Peggy, and she's still a little shell-shocked. And I think she thought that Bobby was trying to kiss the dog now at this point.
Yeah.
And so she tells Bobby, your father told me you were just kissing the head for practice. I know he made it all up just to make me feel better, but that's nice.
Just the doubt in your own son.
No kidding, right?
They can't even give him credit. He's that weird though that they just assume. That's what's funny about how weird, how different Bobby is. That they just assume that he's kissing this thing for some weird intention.
I think that's under the surface for both of them. They understand that Bobby is a weird little dude.
There's actually a scene what got cut out in syndication that we kind of missed.
Oh yeah.
When Bobby is sneaking towards the kitchen, there's actually a Luann's unbuttoning her top. He sees Luann unbuttoning her.
Well,
unbuttoning her top.
he's on the outside. I saw this scene. He's on the outside looking through the window, and what it reminded me of, and I meant to say this at the time, it reminded me of that scene in Animal House. Mm-hmm. You ever seen Animal House?
Yeah.
So where Bluto gets up on the ladder and he's watching the girls take their tops off.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of reminded me of that. But the funny thing about this one is Bobby was watching her take curlers out of the mannequin's head. Then she starts taking her top off and he's like, nah. And he
he bails out. Well, that's the funny part about that, though, is that whenever they syndicated it, they pulled that scene out.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got a few more. We'll get to the end, and I got a few more little
so wacky
tidbits.
I don't know why they would.
I don't know.
I guess it's because it's
not to be creeper. I guess because of I mean, they didn't want to imply some incestual kind of stuff. I guess they took it out for that. Maybe it was by the time it got to syndication, the world was a little bit more politically correct, and maybe they removed it for that reason. I don't know, but I thought it was weird that they removed that from syndication. Of course, we got to see it in wherever we source our TV shows from.
I watched it on Hulu. Check out King of the Hill on Hulu. Peggy, this is probably my favorite line from this episode. Peggy is reassuring Bobby that he's okay. She's going to love him no matter what, even if he have to move to Berlin or whatever.
Yeah, move to Germany.
And she goes, I realize I am just as much to blame for your condition as the media and the devil.
Yeah, I've been overprotective. You're not a baby anymore.
The media and the devil. That's right. But she says, go to your party, just have fun, spread your wings, fly away, little bird. But she can't let go of him. He's trying to go to his party, and she's like, go. And she's still hanging on to him, and so he ends up going to the party, talks about how he has been, he's headed to the party, and he ends up seeing Khan. She comes riding up on the bike. And then she talks about how she's been practicing, shows him how she kisses her hand, and he's like, that's brilliant. He didn't even think about it.
He didn't even think about it.
Hand. That's right. Yeah. So she says, hey, do you want to practice? And he's like, you mean kiss? No, just practice. So I don't know what the difference is there, but this is the first time that Bobby and Khan Jr. kiss.
Yeah, this is their first kiss.
Yeah.
And I think this is the first indicator. Well, they kind of had when they're chasing the dogs kind of thing.
Oh, that's true.
That was kind of
that was a little bit of a romantic
thing, maybe. Probably not. Probably more innocent than romantic because they just moved in next door and all that. But this is the first, what I would consider their interest.
Yeah.
In each other, even though it's just practicing and they're still kind of just friends. Well, this is the first step into not being friends.
The best part is they close their eyes and try to kiss the first time, knock their heads together, and say how stupid this is. But then they try it with their eyes open, they kiss, and then
do I have any hickeys?
Do I have any hickeys?
I don't see any.
Right. Yeah.
And then you hear Khan yell, "Come home for dinner. Your prawn's getting cold." Men. Sorry,
there you go. See?
Men. Sorry.
See, they're interchangeable.
Yeah, they're interchangeable.
And so he takes off to the party. She tells him good luck. He says thanks. And then we go down. This is the weirdest ending to me. By the way, we go down to the party, and you can tell that every one of the kids is nervous.
All of them are nervous.
Right. They're just all nervous. And that's what it really comes down to. It's not just you that's nervous going to this thing. Everybody's nervous. They're all wallflowers.
I don't know if it's a generational thing or not, but we never had any of we didn't have parties as 11-year-olds.
No.
It was high school when we were partying, and it was more about alcohol and drugs than it was kissing each other.
And then it's Dale coming down because he's afraid it's too quiet down there. And then here comes his wife, and they're kind of arguing over the fact that
you can't leave them alone.
Can't leave them alone. There's going to be some hanky-panky going on. You can kind of hear him in the sequence saying it's the sugar. It's that damn sugar they're hopped up on.
Yeah, is that sugar what?
And then explain this ending to me. Because Bobby kind of gets in a little bit of a dreamlike state and jumps to kiss somebody. Is he trying to kiss Dale's wife?
I think so. He does. He does. So one of the trivia deals is it says Bobby lunges for Nancy.
Yeah.
It parodies death scenes in the style of 80s slasher films.
Oh, okay.
So that's what.
All right, that makes sense, I guess. It was just so weird. It seemed like there wasn't an ending, really.
Yeah, no, it was kind of different. So there's a few little fun facts I guess I'll hit real quick.
Yeah, please do.
This is the last episode in which Peggy wears white socks with her shoes.
Really?
Yep. And also,
Somebody's keeping track.
it's the last episode where her shirt is gray instead of green. So her shirt from here on out is a green shirt.
So she wears a green shirt all the time.
and she doesn't have white socks on.
Huh. Okay.
And then,
Peggy Fashion Watch.
yeah, there you go. And then when Bobby was dropping his stuff when he was standing at his locker,
Yeah.
he had a Mrs. Doubtfire lunchbox.
You know, we didn't talk about that part. How Bobby gets kind of freaked out because he starts seeing all these girls, and the girls get to be like 80 foot tall and stuff.
Yeah, well,
and they're
'cause that's
trying to
the
pick
thing.
on him and things. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing with biology is girls generally grow a little bit quicker than
Sure.
guys do at that age, 11, 12 years old. You know,
Yeah.
girls, they usually hit their peak height like real quick. And then
Right.
we're still, I remember
But-
being shoulder height to a lot of girls.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then, as soon as we hit high school, they're shorter than you are kind of thing. And I'm not a very tall guy anyway.
But he
so-
has that little bit of a freak out in his head where the girls become monsters for the most part. Like right there in the school hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has a Mrs. Doubtfire lunchbox. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he had a Mrs. Doubtfire lunchbox.
That's wonderful.
So the guys that
Angela's ashes.
created this particular episode, we have two guys. One of them is David Zuckerman. He's a TV producer, but he started out actually with NBC doing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as a writer.
Oh, okay.
He was a full-time writer for that. And then he goes on to do King of the Hill. And then being attached to Fox now, when the new series was being developed, Family Guy, he was asked to come be a part of that, and he actually was the original showrunner. He has no writing credits whatsoever for Family Guy.
At
But he
Two
was the
Brute.
showrunner. Yeah. And then he also helped develop American Dad and the American adaptation of Wilfred with Elijah Wood and Jason Gann, I think was his name, that did the dog.
I was not a big fan.
No, not a big fan. It was definitely different.
Elijah Wood is weird.
Yeah, he is. He's
I'm
different.
not-
He's like
Not a huge fan.
I'm not a big fan of him outside of Lord of the Rings. And he was in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but he played a super creep in that movie
Yeah.
with Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet.
I just don't feel like it's much of a stretch for him to be a super creep.
No, I don't either. He was one of those child actors that should have just been a child actor, and that was it.
Yeah.
So the next guy, I believe he was the writer and had something to do with some of the animation and stuff,
Okay.
was a guy named Jeff Myers, who it says here
I
he
feel like I've
started
seen
out.
that name a ton of times.
You might have. He was a lead animator for Space Jam. He did some stuff for a TV series in the 90s called Little Dracula.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you remember that or not.
No.
He's done a little bit of Rick and Morty,
Yeah.
The Simpsons, King of the Hill, Disenchantment, the new
Oh, yeah.
Matt Groening.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in that atmosphere again that we continue to
We keep running
discover and
across
see.
these. We keep running across these folks that have worked with both Mike Judge and Matt Groening.
I think Mike Judge, Matt Groening, and Seth MacFarlane, they all kind of
Yeah.
overlap, and I guess it's because of the Fox atmosphere. If
That's
you've
what
worked
I
at
was-
Fox,
yeah.
because I imagine a lot of these guys are like a studio musician kind of feel. Like
Sure.
they're the studio animator that if we're inside of Fox Studios,
Yeah.
they're going to be kind of touching everything kind of thing. I think that's what that kind
Yeah, that makes total sense.
of leads into on that one.
Well, my friend, we have reached the end of season 1.
That's the end of season 1, guys. That was episode 12.
Episode 12, season 1, Plastic White Female. So the next thing you hear from us will either be we may start season 2, and we have a couple of super secret interviews coming up.
Potentially,
that,
yeah.
we might do one of those.
And then I just want to shout out to everybody that supported us for the last,
Heck yeah.
12 weeks. I guess it would
13.
be 13 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we
got
had
an
we
interview
had
in
an
there.
interview
Yep.
episode. So yeah, or 14 weeks because we had
That's true.
my son was being born, so we had the
That's right. We had one rerun
we had the rerun
where
for
we ran
season
the
1.
first one to try to get some folks into it.
Yeah, and y'all are here, so I appreciate everybody again. We're at
Absolutely.
like crazy amount of downloads for
Yeah,
what
we've
we
been doing
expected,
great.
So
Been doing great, and
so-
I just can't thank you guys enough for
Yeah.
listening.
So you can check us out on most social media. BWAAA KOTH, BWAAA KOTH.
There
That's
you
at
go.
Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
We also have something special coming next time where we have a code for people to use for certain products.
Oh yes. So next time
we have a couple of
we'll have
advertisers,
some advertisers
that have come on, and I think you guys will appreciate it.
It'll be comical.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to make it our own.
So check us out on social media, and then you can always check us out at roguemedianetwork.com. And I guess we'll see you next time.
Wimatanye.
Way Matanye indeed.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
Frozen, frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen, frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Hey, I'm Zach,
And I'm Mike.
and we have a fantastic new podcast to tell you about. Bros, Foes, and Heroes. It's the two of us looking into the world of comics, breaking down some characters that you may have never heard of, and some that are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so Zach comes up with a character each time, and I go into it just completely blind. I don't know who this person is or what their abilities are or anything, and basically I guess we kind of go over their origin story and just some of the ridiculous stuff that maybe, especially Golden Age stuff.
Oh, Golden Age stuff is always the best, and we will make sure to highlight all of the shenanigans and just absolute weirdness of everything.
Yeah, that's right. So subscribe today and follow us on Instagram at Bros, Foes, Heroes.
And if you don't, I know where you live. Not really, but please subscribe.
Frozen, frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen, frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Welcome to One Star Rewind, a new podcast about those dreaded one-star reviews that every business owner hates to receive, but yet every customer loves to read. During this podcast, we will peel back that one-star review to better understand how it happened, when it happened, and what the business owner is doing after receiving that one-star review. This podcast will be about love, hate, and laughter. On One Star Rewind, we will meet with real business owners who will tell their stories and how they do rely on reviews for their business. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or download us at roguemedianetwork.com. Please subscribe, but only rate and review for not a one-star review. Join us each time for a new review and a new story.